Hi, it's Miss Parrott. In this video, we're going to quickly look at survivorship curves and R and K strategists. This is important for both AP Biology and AP Environmental Science students. So there are three types of survivorship curves. Type 1, here in blue, Type 2, and Type 3. In a survivorship curve, we're looking at what percent of offspring survive over the course of time. So different organisms have different reproductive and survivorship strategies. And then whatever works and has evolved for them to help them survive and reproduce and carry on their genes to the next generation, hey, that's what works for them. So let's look at some examples. Type 1 survivorship, these are also called K-selected strategists. In these, the survival and quality of offspring in a stable environment is what's most valued. So they will have a lower reproductive rate usually, so they'll have fewer offspring, but the likelihood that that offspring is going to survive into old age, reproduce, and then die that's the most likely outcome. Most live to old age. Some examples of this are humans, elephants, larger mammals that have internal reproduction. Now, our selected species, that's another name for our type 3 strategists, our selected strategists. These are organisms that usually have, so if they're a vertebrate, they're going to be ones that have external fertilization. So frogs, fish, like your amphibians and your fishes, right? They make way more eggs than will ever actually survive. So the percent that survives is very low, right? You have this big drop before even probably they're old enough to reproduce. You have a big drop. Why? Not all, eggs are food. And they're usually not protected by their parents. There's not a lot of maternal or paternal care. And then there's just a ton of them, and they're just floating around the water. So boom, 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 a fish is going to eat them up. So we have low survivorship, but because they have so many eggs, enough survive to reproduce and carry on the offspring to the next generation. So it's fine. Type 2, this is where you can see a straight line. As time goes on, it's a constant. There's no real change in death rate, right? It's just steady over time. What are we going to see this in most often? In birds. Birds, you're going to see a constant death rate like this. So what's the AP exam going to ask? They're going to ask you what type of species is this. They might show you just this and say, what does this curve show? And it give you some options. And you're going to pick the one that has the highest number of babies and the ones that don't survive that much and the ones that do external fertilization, if it's a vertebrate. It might ask you, what strategy does this represent? And if it does that, and it's just showing you this, what strategy is that? Well, that's a K-selected strategist. Also, it may give you one of these and say, okay, if this is what the survivorship curve looks like, what does an N versus T look like? So population over time. So let's say if it was 3, your population would shoot up really fast because you have a high reproductive rate. But then it'll start to come down really fast, right? Way before any of these do. Here, your population number is not going to be very high, but it's going to stay steady for a long time and then go down at the end. So keep these things in mind as you're answering questions for survivorship curves and R versus K strategists. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.